The Teacher Within. April 2017. Beloved one, I have been asked if I would put into form a certain teaching that could take you from the very beginning through to the place of mastery. In truth, I have given some edification in that area. You have books that are as guides to study. But I want to ask you a very basic question. When you use a study guide such as that, where does most of the study take place? In the mind. And what I stress with you is, even if you start with concepts of the mind, which is a good place to start, the goal is to come to the place of the heart so that you, as I have been speaking to you for some years now, do not go back to square one and engage the mind solely. Because truly, as I use words, they are not as important as the feeling. I reach out and touch each one of you, heart to heart, while the mind is busy reading the words. The mind says, "Oh, good, I can latch onto this idea, I will hold this idea." Then another idea comes along and you forget the first one, and then you play with the second one in the mind. If you are lucky, the mind gets tired, and you get to a feeling of peace. That is why I stress so often with you that you set aside time in each day to just breathe, to go deeply within and just breathe. Now, I know that when you start that practice in every day, if you are like most of the brothers and sisters, the mind will be busy with what has happened either the day before or in that day, and there will be certain things that you summarize in the mind. She said this to me, that happened at work, this is what I have to think about for tomorrow. I hope I have everything prepared for dinner, and with 100 people coming to eat, etc. And then, as you have practiced focusing on the breath, you can come to a place of peace within, where you come to the place where you know the feeling of expansion, the feeling of isness, no judgment, no thoughts, just the place of peace within. I have shared with you many times, and I will reiterate, that when you find that place of peace within, the body thanks you, because the body then gets to relax without you trying to control it. You breathe, you feel at peace, and the body expands. All of the cells of the body allow their light to expand. We speak often of the various texts, the writings that are as clues to set you on a path. You have many good writings that you can go to. You have many good poets, writers, musicians, who have written melodies and the words to the melodies that will transport you from sitting in one place to a certain emotion. Oftentimes the music can move you in a way that nothing else can. Now, when the music moves you to a place where you find the waterworks are flowing quite freely, rejoice. Know that truly there have been lifetimes when you could not, dared not shed the tears. Rejoice every time you feel tears coming down the cheeks, because it shows that the heart is opening. Ones often ask me, Master, how can I become a master? Show me, teach me, lead me to the right books to study. Depending on what seems to be the necessary next step with them, I will suggest. But oftentimes they will come back and say, I have read the ones that you suggested. They were good. They have taken me to a certain degree upon my path, but I feel that there's more. Is there something more that I should be studying? When they ask that question, I know that they want something of the mind, so I suggest something that they can read for the mind. And after a while, if they have pursued the pathway away, they will come back to me and say, I have read the books that you suggested. I have pondered them. I have questioned them. I have meditated upon ideas in those books, but I still feel that there is something more. Tell me where to go, what to do. And I say unto them, as I have said to you sometimes, access the teacher within, your own teacher within. Because each and every one of you has existed from before time began, has existed from the first thought to create, and you know your path better than anyone else. You know your inner teacher. Ask the questions of your inner teacher. It is okay to ask questions of brothers and sisters, because they are walking the human path, and maybe what they have read will be enlightening to you. But when you get to the place where you know that there is something more, go within and ask the Master within. Because, you see, 2,000 years ago you and I walked together, we sat around the campfire, We walked along the shore of the sea and shared ideas, questions. When all of that was done and you left to go back to your dwelling place or to your family or to wherever you had to go, there were questions that remained, questions that I could not truly answer. I could only answer what was true for me, as I do in this day and time. But the one true teacher for you is the teacher within. It is you, the master that you are, within. Now, the most wonderful part about that is, as you will be wanting to know, asking to know, really desires to know, nothing can be held back from you. You will bring the perfect text to you. You will bring the perfect teachers to you. You will bring the perfect circumstances to you. The inner teacher of you never leaves you, never will abandon you. You may feel sometimes that you are abandoned, but never can you be abandoned, because the teacher that you are within has been with you from the time you thought first to create, and you have created multitudinous worlds, realities, things to experience and to express, because you are the extension of the one creative principle. Therefore, what are you going to do? You are going to create. And you are going to, according to the mind, judge your creations. The inner teacher of you does not judge. The inner teacher of you walks as you, and is always accessible to you. So in truth, you do not need a teacher outside of you. It is fun to play with someone else, to toss ideas around and say, well, how do you see this? And probably, because of their inner teacher, they may see things differently than you do, and they say, well, this is how I see it. And you say, well, let's think about that for a moment or so. Let me see how that feels. And it may or may not feel right. Whenever there is a time when you feel confronted by someone else, breathe, and then go within, quietly, and access the teacher, your teacher, within. Ask for validation, because quite often what you experience with the mind in the world is non-validation. Ideas will come to the mind, and the habitual way of playing with these ideas has been to value judge, and oftentimes your judgment of yourself has come up a little bit shorter than the value that you place on someone else. So when that happens, breathe, and ask of yourself, what is my truth? Speak to me, inner teacher, my inner teacher, and listen. Again, do not value judge. Do not say, well, I don't think that's right, because I read somewhere in a book etc., that it has to be thus and so. Just listen and feel. What will be most important will be the feeling of peace, the feeling of acceptance that, I am okay. I may have differing ideas from other ones, but I'm still okay with my ideas. I am still okay with my values. I have value, because you do. The world quite often wants to stamp out what you have thought your value to be. The mind will give you a whole list of how to value yourself, and quite often you find yourself down near the bottom of the list, because that is what habitually the generational teaching has been. You have been taught that, as little ones. You don't know anything. You have to listen to me, say the parents or the older brother or sister. You do for a while, and then you begin to think, well, that's not quite how I see things, and I'm not quite sure that's where I am with that. Listen to your inner teacher. Do not be confrontational with another one, because their inner teacher may be bringing up for them what they have said that their soul wants to experience. But value your inner teacher, because that teacher is true for you. It is important for you to know your value and to speak, even when others may not listen to you. Allow yourself to value yourself and your inner teacher. Read the books. Question things. Discuss. Then take it in meditation to the teacher within. That teacher within, when you are being totally open, non-judgmental, will lead you to the truth of your being. I can speak these words to you now, because you are in a place where you understand, not only with the mind, but with the open heart. I can speak these things to you as I did 2,000 years ago when we had fun throwing the ideas back and forth, because we did. We liked to use the tool of the mind, so we played with the mind. And you have done that in the early years of this lifetime, because the mind is a great plaything. If you will treat it as such, you will not go wrong. But the heart speaks true. So whenever you get the feeling of the fingernails on the chalkboard and you wonder what is going on, breathe, and then ask the inner teacher, how do you see what is going on? Every time you ask your inner teacher, you will get an answer. You may not hear it. You may not want it. You may not trust it, but you get an answer which you can come back to and see if the answer is the same next time as well. Allow yourself to trust the inner teacher, because it will be true, not the mind, but the feeling of the heart. You will have fun with it. The mind already is having fun with it, but the heart says, so what? I love, I am, I be, forever and always. So go to the place within and ask your inner teacher, speak to me. Love me. That is a very powerful one. Go to the inner teacher and ask, love me. The feeling that will wash over you will be with you forever. It will be powerful, transportive, and will be forever, as I am with you. I walk with you now. Speak to me from time to time. I give you a promise. 2,000 years ago I gave you a promise, that, lo, I am with you always, even until the end of the world. That will be a good thing to celebrate. I am with you always, and I love that which you are, because that which you are is the one that we are, have been, will be, forever outside of time. Speak to me during the day. If you really want to get my attention, tell a joke. I enjoy laughter. Peace be with you now and forevermore. So be it. Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus. Channeled through Judith Coates. www.oakbridge.org